Oh my god. Hello, my friends. Operator Starsky here. I'm very sorry about the delay because I started, surfing through my photos and I found like videos and stuff. And then when I thought everything was over, I found more photos and I think I still won't be able to show you everything. But anyways, do we have sound? Yes, we have sound. My dear friends, today we will talk about me becoming a National Guardsman of Ukraine. It was a long period that took almost like 8 years of my life, and it was an extremely cool experience. Last time we talked about, during our story time, we talked about my story of a cop in Donbass. Again, it was extremely cool experience, extremely cool period of my life that I can be proud of. But still, being a cop is not the same as being a military. Even though we were involved into the anti-terrorist operation, still it's it's different. Okay, it's a different thing. And what I thought about was becoming a military, and National Guard looked as a good alternative to becoming to being a cop. So this is why late 2015. First, we wanted to join the elite of the elite. We had a platoon in my battalion in the police, and we went to this process of natural selection in the Alpha, the Security Service of Ukraine Special Force. We failed dramatically. I literally, I needed 1 point. I scored enough, but I needed 1 point to pass further, but I failed because I was too lazy to run. But then, same year, there was a selection program to my current brigade in Hostomel, and it was just being created. 2015, they were just being recruiting people for the first infantry company. That's when we decided to apply as well, and out of I think 50-something candidates, 10 candidates passed, including myself, which I was extremely proud of. Service in the police was extremely cool. Remember last time we talked about the arsenals that we collected? There was grenade launchers. All that stuff that you see on your screen comes from Kurakhove. There were Kalashnikovs, a bunch of different handguns, fake police license plates. That's my group, and me, actually us, our guys, that is what we found in Kurakhove. That belonged to the terrorists. And that was like a lab for creating drugs. Like on the lab there was a fridge with stuff, So the guy was extremely successful for a while. Okay. Back in those days, I liked, again, as all the guys in my platoon, we liked sports. I liked boxing. I was really not. I was really not the worst in boxing. Okay. We were having a lot of sparrings with my guys. That dude is actually a wrestler. That is why he sucks at boxing, but he's very good at wrestling. And actually, that is the only successful punch that I landed. But it was extremely cool. I was into martial arts, and I thought being a National Guardsman in new professional infantry brigade would be extremely cool. I don't have enough photos from that very period because as soon as we joined, and 3 months of all kinds of security checks passed. 3 months, my friends. I was waiting after accomplishing the selection program. After that, I got invited to the commandant company. Not sure how to call it. Basically, it's like a supply battalion that is responsible for all kinds of patrolling the base, providing security and stuff. And from there, I jumped to the infantry because that was your first step. You always landed there in that company. And then when you see the guys from the infantry battalion, from the infantry company, first company, you always want to join them because they looked extremely cool. So I joined the infantry company first as a test. I went to the kitchen, and at the kitchen, I talked to the guys from the infantry company, like, this is what you do usually. And they said, okay, you can come with us, and we will see what you're worth. So this is how my life looked like. That was my tent. This is basically like your home in the training camp. This is the place that you love, and you love it, but you don't miss it. And this is my company, my guys. We were literally training all day long. We would spend, like, I don't know, 2-3 months in a row in the training camp. It was insane, but again, it was extremely cool because we were busy all the time. We always did something. We were training. We were learning something new. There was a guy from Israel that trained us in the beginning. Then there were some other guys. There was a guy from Bundeswehr, from Germany, who also trained us. And a lot of other different people who would share their experience with us. And that's also me. I got a bit dirty for no reason. Reminded me of this funny story when our guy Max, he died this year. He was in my company. He was extremely talented poet, and when we had battalion training, we would like dig trenches and stuff. And the dude digs trench, and then he wipes his nose. And of course, because he wipes his nose becomes like black. Then he wipes his eye, and in the end he becomes completely dirty. So in the morning, we have this morning alignment, and commander lines up the troops, and he says, look at that. Look at Max. What do you see? We're like, Max? Dirty? I don't know. He's like, yeah, he masked himself. He masked himself to blend with the environment. You should take that as an example. Max, you will have 1 day off. We were like, what the fuck? So he had 2 days off, like accidentally, literally because he was dirty. But battalion commander decided that it was like a feature. And I think we spent like 4 months, maybe even more in the training. And summer or like autumn of 2016, we went to Yavoriv to the Rapid Trident 2016. It was a mutual military exercise with our NATO colleagues, guys from United States, United Kingdom, like everywhere, like from all around the world. There we could show what we learned. Training itself was extremely hard. though I liked it, and because I had experience, like tactical experience from my service in the police battalion, I wasn't bad. I didn't have to learn from scratch, and my sergeants liked that big time. Our company sergeant liked it, and he was like you cannot be friends with your sergeant, but they will at least respect you more than others if you're good at what you're doing. And to me it was like a strange experience because, for example, in the police we could talk like buddies, you know. In the army there is this subordination. There's a sergeant, he's 25 years old, I'm almost 30, and yeah, 31. And I have to call him like you in a respectable way. Like in Ukrainian language, we say you to like your friends, and then we have you the respective way. In German, it would be du, aber sie. Du oder sie. And to me, it was like strange because like we're almost in the same tent, but at the same time, I should talk to him like, you know, respectfully. Like it was strange, but it was a culture that I adopted pretty fast, I would say. Then we went to this Rapid Trident, to this military exercise. And this is basically how I started becoming a guardsman. It was extremely, extremely cool experience. At the Rapid Trident, we had opportunity to work with the international personnel, right? We had a multinational brigade commanded by a guy from, I believe, either Romania or Moldova. I think Moldova or Hungary, I don't remember, but it was extremely cool. We had my God, different demining trainings and mining trainings with the Canadian troops. So we had a lot of really interesting experience. First aid, the combat medicine. We learned TC3. We learned March protocol, and like all that stuff. And at the Rapid Trident, we also used those like miles systems. We were the good guys. We were the Blue 4, and the Op 4 were Ukrainian paratroopers, actually, and they cheated. Actually, they cheated with the miles, but it was extremely interesting. And that was for the first time I got photographed by our press service. Here we are clearing the building, and guys, that is like the dude on the right that you can see. You don't want to take that dude on a CQB mission because, like, literally, you see those guys are like involved. They're clearing the second floor. You know, like they are involved, and the dude on the right, aka me, literally like, what you're doing, guys? What's that? By the way, what do we have for like dinner tonight? Do you have a spare yogurt, by the way? Because I ate mine. You know, like that is what in the army you call like Blue Falcon. Generally, wasn't that bad. It's literally, I have no idea why I did that, but I was involved as well. Our sergeant, like we used imitation hand grenades. Our sergeant, when we were clearing the building, he took a freaking imitation of mortar shell. So it's a bit bigger than the hand grenade, and when you throw it, it goes boom. So in the building, That may cause some damage to, like, your brain, like, literally, but it was fun. And in the end, I was so good, so I received a coin from the Californian Battalion of the National Guard of the United States, which means that basically when I go there and I go to, like, a local bar in the California and I show this to the local servicemen, they can, in theory, give me the beer, like, grant me the beer, buy me the beer, or not. I think this is how it works. I'm not sure. We didn't have that culture back then, but it was interesting. And that is when I had my that is when I got on a television, actually. It was kind of fun.
Шосте. Явивський полігон став майданчиком для міжнародних тренувань Rapid Trident. Впродовж 2 тижнів військові з 13 країн вчаться облаштовувати
She talks about the Rapid Trident, about the training, and that is my company on the background. That is 2016. That is 2016. That is like an ambush or something, I don't remember. We were clearing the buildings, and that is my sergeant. He's 20, my God, like 24, 25. He was much younger than me. And he was the coolest dude ever. He was the coolest sergeant, and my example, I learned a lot from him. Like, he's extremely cool. Like, if you imagine like the alpha dude, like 100% alpha, that is him. And that is me. Literally explaining the journalist how it works.
Система працює таким чином, що коли відбувається постріл, то лазерний сигнал посилається.
God, I was so thin back then. Oh my. Like, I'm 31 at this video. Can you believe that?
Тобто, попросту кажучи, людина, як вважається 200-м.
That is insane. I don't look bad today anyways, but... So, when we returned back from the Rapid Trident, back to my brigade, my command, my company command, decided that I fit for the position of a sergeant. And they selected a bunch of guys, and they sent us to the camp to train a new company, 2nd Infantry Company. So I became a platoon sergeant in the 2nd Infantry Company of the Hostomel Brigade. So we spent extremely cool time. We were like team. We were like family. We were like brothers. But then they told me, like, dude, you cannot be a sergeant because you're a private. I'm like, so? They're like, you gotta go to the school for sergeants. I'm like, fuck, okay. So they sent us to the school for sergeants, and here you can see us in the train going there. That is Bogdan on the foreground. On the background, there's my rest of the guys. It was so fun. Like, it was the most boring period of my life. Because in the school for sergeants, we were basically training other guys and sharing our experience that we acquired in the brigade while being privates. And in the brigade, we already had this extremely, extremely strong sergeant corps that was, I believe, later adopted by different brigades of the National Guard based on our experience. Pete, there was no hair. Trust me. There was absolutely no hair. And we were basically training other guys. We were telling them how to use weapons. We were training them how to use tactics of the smaller groups, etc. How long was sergeant school? So it was something like 3 months, I believe. Something like that. But again, because everything was a bit reformed, I believe that we spent a bit less time there. We wanted to acquire this legit legal right to train sergeants at the base of our brigade. Therefore, we spent a bit less time. But the time that we spent there, it was crucial. Why? Because, first of all, we learned how to operate things like BTRs. This was my BTR, okay? Because as a sergeant, you have to have your own BTR. And this is how it looks on the inside, my friends. So when you wonder how does it look like, that is the stuff that you use to operate the turret. And what makes this BTR so cool? So first of all is weaponry. This BTR has a 30mm automatic cannon. It has 6 smoke grenades. On the side there you can see attachment point for 2 anti-tank laser-guided missiles called Barrier, and it also has 7.62mm machine gun and automatic grenade launcher. This stuff can destroy planets, like seriously. You can shoot that 30mm cannon at a range of approximately 4 kilometers, like seriously, and you can use night vision, like it's good. It's really good. There you can see the navigation. The turret itself is unmanned, which means there is nobody on board of turret, only ammo. Only ammunition. This is the place of a gunner. In front of it, you can see the seat of a commander. Commander usually dies when this BTR gets damaged or burned, because the guys can escape easily, and you usually remain, because captain of a ship goes down with the ship. But in front, you have absolutely the same control panel for the cannon, and commander can switch. As a commander, you can switch. You can easily either switch so you operate the turret, or you switch and the gunner operates the turret. So how it's done? Usually the gunner is like, "Commander, I want to shoot," and you're like, and you grab the Snickers bar, for example, or some kind of snack, and you switch, and the gunner shoots. Yeah, corruption in Ukraine works like this. Then we were preparing for our first deployment. It was winter 2016, and we were going to the Luhansk region, Stanitsa Luhanska, those areas. Basically, our task was to protect the border, because Russians had some kind of tank training, exercise for their armored groups, and there was a risk that they potentially could invade. And also we learned that Millerova airport, that was several kilometers away from us, they were preparing third so-called armed corps of the so-called Novorossiya, the occupied Donbass. They had 2 armed corps, 2 big terrorist groups, hybrid armies, and the third one was designed specifically for sabotage, reconnaissance, and that kind of operation. It was like a special force. So we were stationed there to combat them. What can I tell you about being deployed to Luhansk? It's fucking cold. It's extremely cold, my friends. It's bad. That behind my back is a stela saying Stanitsa Luhanska. We were going to the Nova Pochta to pick some mail, some parcels. And by the way, Per Hagling says Arma 4 is a good computer game. I can double that. I would also say that Arma 2 is a good computer game. Generally, all the series of Arma and back to Operation Flashpoint is a good computer game. And we will talk about it a bit later. But where was I? The Luhansk. That's me with my guys. I'm a sergeant, and I was a sergeant of the company. So we had no sergeant of a company. That's why I was like kind of deputy sergeant for a while, for all the period of our deployment. And it was such an interesting experience. You know, I got sick so bad. And because all of our company was deployed and we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 positions, maybe even more. So we would take quite a long span, too long for a company actually. And we had to deliver stuff, we had to deliver like firewood for the guys. So it was extremely cold, it was extremely exhausting, and me as a sergeant, who generally I walk around with a radio station and I just give commands, right? I just manage the process. But I was so exhausted and I got sick. I had temperature like 38 Celsius, 39. I was shaking, and I remember in the night I would just drop into the truck and switch off, and then I would switch on at a position. I would walk out, talk to the guys, ask what they need, you know, and stuff, and then I would sit back, switch off, and switch on a different position. And I'm happy that I had armor, because armor works as a shell. You just like sit in it like a turtle and you can sleep for a bit. And there was this funny story. We were stationed at the farm, and the truck that we had, it was armored. It was not only just a truck, it was armored truck, which was necessary because we have like a lot of ice, a lot of snow, and it needs to have like a good traction. And I remember we had this big field of shit outside of our base. So there was like this field surrounded by wall of shed, because there were goats, there were like other animals, horses. So of course, like farmers collected shed, and we were coming back from the positions, and the guy, young driver, he turns his truck in order to put it into the storage area. And instead of turning him properly, turning the truck properly, he's like, I will just go through the field. And I look at that pile of shit, which we were lucky because the company that was previously, they still, you know, they were there when it was warm and it stank. When we came there, it was already cold, so it didn't stink much. And he's like, I will just go through this field. I'm like, okay. So I walk out of the truck and I see this truck like slowly going towards this wall of shed. And apparently this boy thought that he will just, you know, like drive over it. But instead he drives through it, and like human height of like this brown freaking, you know, like this stripe goes along the truck. And I'm like, oh man, because generally speaking, it doesn't freeze in the winter. It keeps like solid temperature. inside, even when it's really, really cold, when it's like -20, -35, it's still pretty much warm. So in the end, he had to wash it, and I'm like, bro, you will have a busy evening today. It was so cool. I remember sometimes it was so cold, so I have this like scarf, and I breathe through the scarf, and the steam from my breath goes up and gets condensed on my eyelids, and they stick together, and I cannot open my eyes. Guys, this was so crazy. And luckily, I also found several videos from that period, and luckily for you guys, I speak English in those videos. Let me see. Ah, here it is.
Janczyk! Kurwa mać! Daj Boże, daj Boże, daj Boże!
Yeah, this is my favorite guy. His name is Janczyk. Я вообще-то снимаю видос, братан. Oh shit!
Yeah, that was Janczyk. He was extremely funny. When I told him that we're staying there for one more month, he was so mad. He screamed. He was like, oh, yeah, it was so cool. Because generally, as a sergeant, you bring all kinds of fucked up news to your subordinates. What else do we have?
There's my guys, our APC, and that one is the APC that we have arrived at. This is my Sergeant Donatus.
Hi! Hello!
Literally no idea why I made those videos in English, but anyways. This one is funny though, check it out.
This is my APC. I like mine, but my rank allows me to take all kinds of APCs under my control. So,
like, generally, okay, like in the civilian life, you're like, guys, you know, I have this small company that makes IT solution for the aviation industry. We have like annual income of like $50 million. You know, I have like a Bentley, and then me, like, my rank allows me to take any APC under my control. You know. Anyways, it was kind of cool, and at the same time, it was freaking cold. And we stayed there for one more month, one month extra. I hated that. The very deployment was a bit boring. Our special force, our reconnaissance platoon, they worked. They were going to the front, and they were mostly our snipers. They were working, and we had several alarms, like nothing serious. There were Russian UAVs coming from the Russian territory, flying over our base. There was Russian electronic warfare. It was active like most of the day, so we had like a very, very bad connection during the day. And then in the night, we would suddenly have good connection, good internet, which means that Russians launched a UAV and it will be flying over us. But generally nothing serious. Also, Russian recon liked to hike in the bordering territory and on our territory as well. So we planned to ambush some of the Russian fucks. We had like this recon mission or several of them, but again, nothing serious. Unfortunately, we were not lucky enough to do that. We returned from the Luhansk region. I cannot say that I was, too... those are my guys. That is my APC, which I can take any APC because I'm a sergeant, was kind of cool. So then, we went on a second deployment to the Soledar Bulge, and that is when shit became serious. So first of all, let me introduce my home. Okay, it was a shithole that was approximately 1 meter and like 40 centimeters high, tall. Okay, and that was my place. That is where I lived. That was Frodo Baggins' little hole, right? Rabbit hole, or how do you call it? It was the best place. Before I put all of my stuff on those shelves were full of spoiled rations, full of spoiled food, because the unit that we switched, they left a lot of that stuff there, and it started rotting and shed, and I had to clean everything. But Snow Chains, hello my friend, welcome to the stream. But in the end, I had to clean it, and even despite I cleaned everything, but still there was like mold, there were all kinds of insects, and I think I still carry some of that mold in my lungs to this day. But it was cool, and that's Bogdan, and that is literally our deployment. That is literally we're switching the guys at the positions. Lucas, red is paint, yes. Red is paint. That stuff. That is paint. That is literally shelves. But the red, like on the floor, is clay. It's the soil of Donbass is fucked up big time. In Donbass, everything hates you because you cannot make trenches pretty much in summer or winter, because the soil it's like clay that is solid. You need to freaking use like machines to do that. Miroslav, hello my friend. So, and in spring and in autumn, it's really hard to move through this mud because it's a mud, like it's crazy. And fighting there is crazy as well. And that is Sergei Kishkin. We're at the position with him. He was my subordinate. He was a private, and then later he became a sergeant. I became an officer. He became a sergeant. He died in 2022 in Rubizh. He was a really good guy. He covered the guys while being wounded, and he was shot at point blank. And unfortunately, his mother still doesn't have his body because Russian don't give the bodies. But he was an extremely cool guy. He was my good friend. He always had cigarettes. He always had when all the guys are like depressed like shit, including myself, I go to Serega and I go, Serega, I know you have a cigarette, and he's like, okay, let's go, let's have a smoke. And that's why I like to stay with Serega. Before that, I stayed with the dude who had a call sign Dragon. It's a different story. I can talk a lot about this dude. I will tell you the story next time because it's extremely ridiculous and long. But that was the time when we were shelled for the first time, when my brigade was shelled for the first time. And here you can hear Serega making a video in the night. It has no video, only sound.
Итак, сегодня первый раз нас нормально обстреляли. Артем,
He's like,
Анатолич?
we were shot at for the first time.
Блядь, не высовывай руку, нихуя. Бам. Блядь, Серега.
And he's so happy, like, guys, we were shot at for the first time. And then they started shelling us, like, for real. This is the sounds at our position in the night. And that shit is sketchy. Like, for real. So it was like this. It was kind of fun, and we also had fun. So the enemies were on the other side of the water reservoir. I cannot say they were like close. They were like 600 meters minimum. Like the minimum distance was 600 meters, but generally they were like much further, but we could see them. At this distance, you cannot use your AK much, so we used everything else. For example, I think this one. That's Bogdan. There was this crazy story. There were army men. Before I talk about them, I want to show you this picture. It's a picture of Serega going into the sunset. And to me, it's very symbolic. It's like I made this photo of Serega from behind. We were going to the different position to shoot. And here he goes into the sunrise, my friends. So there were army men on the flank, and one time they came to us and they said, "Tomorrow we will bring an ATGM operator to your position, and we will shoot at the Russian position." And we're like, "Okay, sure." And they're like, the signal will we will shoot 4 missiles, and the signal will be a shot from an RPG. The signal for the beginning of the operation. We'll start at 6. Like, fine. So 5:30, I wake up and I hear bam, and I'm like, fuck, why did they start so early? So we rushed to our positions because we were supposed to use our machine guns to cover the ATGM operator. And there was this like building, I think it was like a water pump station on the other side, used by Russians as an observation point. And we had to cover the army man from the Russians with our fire. Why I call them army man is because they were armed forces of Ukraine and we were National Guard. Same shit, different departments. So they launched first ATGM, and first ATGM, I believe, goes like somewhere towards Saturn or Mars, because it was old. It goes like somewhere there. And I'm like, I don't think they will find any Russians there anyways. Second ATGM goes towards the positions of the armed forces on the different flank. But luckily for them, the range was too big. They were like 3 kilometers away, and this ATGM didn't reach them. Third ATGM goes straight, turns around, and goes back in my position where my guys are sitting and observing everything, and explodes there. I'm like, fuck. Fourth ATGM. Do I have this video? Unfortunately, this one I don't have, but I have it somewhere. Fourth ATGM goes directly into this water pump station where Russians were sitting and goes boom. And shortly after that, we start covering our guys, and they get the fuck out of there. And in the evening, they start fucking shelling us. And I'm literally, I'm sleeping in the kitchen, and there's this passage down to that rabbit hole that you saw. And I'm sleeping like in a chair, and behind the chair there's plenty of sandbags, like this tall, this tall wall of sandbags. And on the bed in front of me, there's Dima, Elf, our sniper. He's like, I will stay here for the night. I'm like, sure, because everybody likes to sleep on the kitchen, of course. And I know that they will be shelling us, like 100%, of course, in the night. So as soon as I hear the boom, the first shot, even not the income, but the first shot from the Russian mortar, I already wake up even before it strikes our position. And I wake up, I'm prepared, I'm ready, I scream, Dima, get the fuck down into the basement. But I think that I'm saying this because, my brain is awake, but my body is still sleeping. And I'm like a rag doll. And instead of saying what I said, I go, and I fall down into this freaking basement. Dima wasn't even there, by the way. He went back to his bunker before that. But I'm sitting there listening, the incoming fire, like shells. And then I report to my base that we were shot at, and it was kind of cool. The problem was that one of the explosions destroyed the cable. And here you can see the result of such an income, okay? That is a hole from a Russian 120 millimeter. So the crater is kind of big. It's usually bigger, but the soil, you can see that it's like rock, okay? And here's the fragments. I think I told you that I like to take fragments. To Kyiv, I would usually take a bunch of them, like a kilogram of fragments, and give them to all of my friends who would be there in Kyiv, sitting, like looking at them like, whoa, what is this? Does it kill? They were like the best souvenirs. And also, we had things like that, for example. It's again, they're working at...
Ратибор, рассвет, рассвет.
Наводим ДШК, ёб твою мать! Филимон! Наводим ДШК, блядь!
He tells his soldier to coordinate his machine gun.
Левише!
Yeah. There are things like that. There was... here's like usual day at a position. Also, I found this very interesting video because my 3 sergeants, we were 4 sergeants in the platoon, me and 3 squad leaders. We all spoke English, and we had communication on a radio in English. Why? Because Russians were listening to us, of course. And Russians were convinced that we were Polish for some reason. I have no idea why. Kurwa. But we spoke English on a radio all the time.
Dallas, this is Houston, over.
Dallas to Houston, over.
Expect 5.2 wide in 30 mics. How do you read, over?
Roger, I read.
That's Bogdan on the phone. Was fun. What else? So I brought a lot of footage from there actually because, for example, when we were stationed in a different position, it was not far from Mironivska. Mironivska, how to explain this? Oh my god, Soledarsk Bulge generally, check the map. In the morning I made this, it's like early morning, it's like 5 a.m. probably. Not later than 5 a.m. And you can see Russians shelling the Mironivska. The distance was kind of big, like I would say 6-7 kilometers. So you could understand it's not far from Debaltseve. It's literally several kilometers from Debaltseve. So our guys there were under the mortar fire, and then they... Here you can see Russians, by the way. Those tiny dots near the tree, those are Russians on the other side of the water reservoir. We could see them, but we couldn't do much with AKs. And there was this moment when I remember there was this dude like lying down there, and our sniper armed with SVD, which is basically like a Hoover. It's like a vacuum cleaner. It's not even a rifle. Like you can poke somebody with the bayonet because it's the only sniper rifle that you can attach bayonet to. Soviets were crazy. And our sniper was like looking at him, and he was walking around like a cat around sour cream. You know, he was looking, then he would lie down with his SVD and look at that dude, and then he would stay up, you know, because the distance was like 2 kilometers. And he couldn't do much. And that's why I felt for him. I like, bro, let's go to the kitchen. I will give you something. We had something like that for food. Okay, that is noodles and meat. My favorite stuff ever. It's just so good. We will talk about food later. So where were we? And also, well, here for example. So funny thing about this video is that the distance is 1,500 meters, something like that. So it's the limit of using your machine gun. SVD would not reach that far. Not with the scope that our sniper had. But our sniper was running around and like, no, it was a different story. It was a different story. I went to the base camp and I'm returning back to my positions. And when I arrive, when I open the doors of the APC, first thing I feel is like shockwave, because we're being shot at from SPG. And I'm talking on the phone with one commander, I'm talking on the radio with the second commander, and I go down from I exit the APC and directly into the trench, and I sit there and I speak to them. And at this very moment, at the different position where Bogdan was, our sniper went nuts and he's running around like there's like incoming fire, and he's running around with his rifle and he's like, give me ammo, give me ammo. Bogdan was like, dude, relax, you cannot reach them. He's like, I will, give me ammo. So he was so frustrated. It's so frustrating to see frustrated sniper, actually. Was that, yeah, that's me at the observation position that you saw. And generally, my friends, Donbass is an extremely, extremely beautiful place, because look at this shit. Just look at it. It's in the morning. It's spring 2017. How cool is that? That's one of the most fantastic places where I took one of my most heroic selfies, actually. But generally speaking, my friends, I will tell you this. Did you know that I have the most kick-ass selfie from the war? And I can prove it to you. So Bogdan is shooting his DCK, and I'm, of course, like recording Bogdan. And Bogdan is like, make a video, I want to send it like to my son. I'm like, okay. So I'm making a video. Look at this very closely. I'm sure you don't see anything, right? So, in the end, I'm looking at this video, I'm like, I don't see anything. I was pointing at you, but generally it's like dark. The night vision, Bogdan has a night vision, I don't have anything. It was like dark, I don't see anything. And then I realized that my phone was actually using like the selfie camera. So I did not record the Bogdan. But if you check frame by frame, you can see this. And this, my friends, I shit you not, is the selfie made using a muzzle flash as a photo flash. Guys, this is me thinking that I'm recording Bogdan, smoking a cigarette, but this is the most kick-ass selfie you can find from the war, because it was recorded using a flash from a freaking machine gun on my face, like reflected on my face. So I think I should put it on my user picture, probably, I don't know. That was another bunker where I lived with the guys, and one attribute of this bunker was, of course, a cat. And that cat, he was called Behemoth, because he was a behemoth. He was like big, he was extremely naughty, and he would snatch our food. That's Muzika, that's... no, that's not Muzika, that's Skripka. Oh my god, I forgot his call sign. He was a giant, and you can tell. Like, I'm not a really big dude, right? But that dude was a freaking giant. Which was a problem. Because In autumn, when leaves disappear from the trees, generally you can see through the tree line easily. And there was this parallel bar and horizontal bar. The dude was working out on it. And I'm sitting at my position. He goes to my position and he's like, bro, do you have a cigarette? I'm like, dude, you don't smoke. He's like, I do now. I give him cigarette and ask what happened. And he says he was working out. And because he's fucking huge, he's tall, the fuckers saw him and they started shooting him from NSV. And it's like a heavy machine gun. And they nearly killed him. So since that day, he started smoking. Was fun. Then I ordered those patches for my platoon. We were 2nd company, 3rd platoon, the Foxtrot platoon. And it was like, how to explain this? Just so you could understand. When there is some kind of motherfucker in your platoon and your commander wants to get rid of him, he would throw him and transfer him further, and he would end up in my platoon. So all kinds of, like coolest people ever, coolest guys you can imagine, they ended up in my platoon. That's why I made that patch for them. They were notorious bastards, and this is how we called them. Like, my God. We were like band of pirates. We were like, the guys returned from a deployment, and Irpin, Bucha, Hostomel, all the surrounding villages, they burned for like 3 days. Like all the bandits like just ran away because brigade returned from a deployment. We have to go to like police stations, get our guys, rescue them from the police and shit. It was just so freaking cool, and especially my guys. I remember we received like bonus for our deployment, and we had to spend this bonus to help one of our guys, because the dude got drunk. He went on a balcony, and like in the army we call like handgun, we call it short because it's short barrel. And he was staying on the balcony, and there were like his friends below, outside. And he took down his pants and he said, "Look at my shirt!" And then he fell down, of course. He landed on his head, but because he landed on his head, of course, his brain could not be damaged. Like, it saved him that he landed on his fucking head, but we still had to pay for like hospital and everything else. It was kind of fun. That is me in my glorious brigade. Later, Russians tried to destroy this logo. They failed. I think it's still there. And it was freaking cold, guys. Like, take a look at this shit. That is my position in winter 2017. That's crazy. That's Mironivsk. Those positions are not our temporarily. They're not our positions since 2022. But that is temporarily. And then my commander had a need to find a new press officer. So he called me. And I'm sitting there with the brigade commander, and he's like, "I will give you an offer you cannot refuse." I'm like, okay, so this is how I became a press officer, because I had education. And I think that my commander made a great choice, because our previous press officer, like, guys, in the army, I forgot about writing press announcements, writing press releases, talking to journalists, everything like that. I would have my tiny blog on a Facebook where I would write something about army from time to time. But generally, I forgot about communications whatsoever. I was so happy. But this was a different period of my life, so I was a sergeant, and I got commissioned, and I became an officer. So what do officers do every day? Like, if you think that it's like sitting behind a computer watching like boobs every day, you're very, very wrong. But on the other hand, like, not really wrong, I think. Anyways, I'm not sure where this video comes from. But it was a really cool period of my life, because I had a camera, I knew how to use the camera, I was autonomous, and I was the chief of our press service. I could do any fucking thing. And we became the best press service in the National Guard. We still are. So I would go to a training camp, I would make a video of our recon training. I would go to a different training camp and make a video of our ATGM operators training, or snipers. Or I would go on a deployment and make a report about our guys. It's really important, because we have to talk about our people. They need to be remembered. Doesn't matter if they're dead or alive, they need to be remembered. There was this crazy case. We went on a deployment to Svitlodarsk, but a different area of Svitlodarsk. Our whole brigade was deployed there. And but battalion tactical group was. And there's Zaitseva, or Travneva. I think Zaitseva. I think it was Zaitseva. Village of Zaitseva, it's long and it's separated. One part of it is controlled by us, the second part of it is controlled by Russians, by a hybrid terrorist group. And Russians in the night decide to sneak into the building. And this building is served as our observation point. Platoon commander, young officer, he walks into the house, and it's a hut. It's like a small village hut, okay? He walks inside with a machine gun without knowing that there's something inside. And the passages between the rooms, there's like those rugs, okay, hanging. So when he opens the rug, first thing he feels is someone pushes him. So he falls on his back. What he does next is he starts shooting through this rug with his machine gun. And then he stands up and he hears like this bam, the grenade, the detonator. And he screams grenade, and he rushes out of the building. Guys, it was 2019. It was 3 years before the Russian invasion. He rushes out of the house, and a grenade explodes in the house. The fucker threw a grenade, and then they left the house through the window. So apparently we thought that they were gonna install some booby traps inside of the building, apparently. And it was like first hand-to-hand combat in years on the front line. First hand-to-hand combat in years. And we went there the other day with our deputy commander, And I checked everything. Yeah, there's this crater from a grenade inside of the house, you know. Everything is like plenty of holes from the machine gun. And we talked to the soldiers. Soldiers confirmed that, yeah, our commander saved our lives, because if the Russians decided to like kill us, those ninjas, you know, we would be dead right now. So I return, because it takes time to confirm the information. I return back to our base camp. I make a publication for the press office of the Joint Operation Force, and I send it. And you know what they reply? They say, unfortunately, we didn't have this information in the daily reports. That's why we cannot publish this. But you can write a publication about stray dogs and cats adopted by soldiers. I said, fuck you. So I used my platforms to share the story. Everybody went crazy. The journalists came to our that lieutenant, and he became a hero, and he received a fucking award. So we did the right thing. What else can I share with you guys? Here I have a bunch of videos. This is 30-kilometer march. So we had a beret, right? In the beginning, we had like a red beret. So for example, when you see this sexy mofo here, right? We have like a red beret. It's an old beret, and it's connected to the Soviet culture. That's why we changed it to the blue beret. And just so you could understand what I'm talking about, I have it right here. The blue beret, blue, national blue. This is how we call it in the National Guard. So in my brigade, if you wanted to receive a beret like this, you had to run 30-kilometer march with your guys and your weapons. And after 30 kilometers, you would receive a beret and be proud of it. But before we switched to the blue berets, we had the red ones. And I, as a press officer and as former infantry and as former sergeant and as former, I served in the recon platoon for a very short while, I had to run with the rest of the guys, of course. And I think this video doesn't have a sound because the music is copyrighted, but you know, my video will get demonetized anyways because of all the shooting. So here are my guys. Some of them already have berets. That is brigade commander. The others don't have a beret. So those are running to receive the beret, and the rest of the guys who already have beret, they run to keep them company because we're brothers. And they accompany them during this march. So it's one company runs and receives beret. Then second company runs and first company runs with it. Then one battalion runs and another battalion runs with that battalion to accompany them. And then the whole brigade is running. That is commander on the side, commander of the brigade himself. And I have to run as well. And because I'm a fucking press officer, I have to run like around them. Because I not only I have to run, but I also have to make a footage. And and guys, I think I like ran for 3 or 4 times. So I earned like aluminum beret, I think. I have no idea. And there's like local people and And we're running through the village shouting Slava Ukraini and Heroyam Slava, and guys carry each other wearing gas masks and suffer and do all kinds of crazy shit to receive a beret. And it was some of the coolest periods of my life. Like every single time we had this march, it was freaking fantastic. Some of the guys were like very tired, so they would run in front of everybody else. Okay. The fastest runners would run behind everybody. This is how it works. If you're slow, if you're tired, you have to run in front of everybody. So it's like we walk, we run, then we walk, then we run, and then we return back to our base gloriously, and the guys receive. And there you could see my sergeant, my former sergeant, from that very first video in 2016. And everybody's like, yay, we did it! We fucking did it! Yay! Because we were together. It was so cool. Such great memories, you know. Returning to Svitlodarsk, here we see, again, this is my footage, Luhansk. Russians set a village on fire. They were shooting from there, and that smoke that you saw before that, there is like a small house in the woods that Russians were occupying. It's 2017, I think. Yeah, so they were already doing bad things back then. Where's that cool video that I wanted to share? Is it this one? Those are the orcs. It's still 2017, I think. Just a minute, my guys. Yeah, and so we went on a different deployment in 2019. That is when we lost our man for the first time. We lost three, I remember. One of them became Hero of Ukraine, and our brigade was named after him. Sergeant Serhiy Mikhalchuk from the recon team. He was a machine gunner. And basically what happened was Russians were trying to take our position, and he was covering our troops with his machine gun, and Russians started shooting their mortar, 120 millimeter, and he was at a position with his partner, with his buddy, and the shell fell in front of them, and it happens in the way that Serhiy was in front of his friend, right? That's why he received all the fragments. And his friend only received a fragment in his shoulder. We did interview with him, but Serhiy received like majority of the fragments and died. And our brigade was named after him. It's before we became known as Rubizh. Back in those days, besides shooting video and doing whatever the officers do, I also liked sniping. I was good at sniping. Okay. And I went on a deployment as partially press officer and partially, like, I would not call myself a sniper, like a dude with a rifle, okay, who knows how to use it. Because psychologically, I cannot be a good sniper. That was my position, by the way. That, as you can see, a cemetery where we had our position for a platoon. And this cemetery was protecting us because like generally at a cemetery, especially in the night when it's foggy and scary, Matt, not marksman, just a dude with a rifle, okay? war tourists. So generally, when it's dark and scary, you want to be afraid of humans, of living ones, not the dead ones, because the dead ones, they protect you. And that was one of the positions, one of my positions. I was covering our recon team that was going to the other side and back. And it was a really interesting experience. This video comes from that area. It's so the story, it's Zaitsevo, I believe, and Russians were harassing our guys from those positions, so eventually our commander decided to remove it. And that's what we did. Enjoy the sound.
Я так понимаю, нашу яблоню
Туда,
а другий бетон, дошли дом, да.
Funny thing was that the Russians were observing that, and while they were observing that, our snipers from our recon team, they shot several of their snipers, which was so fun. Again, year 2019. COVID, who cares about that shit?
Буду цієї ночі крепити, блядь.
The guys on the background say, the fuckers will respond tonight, and everybody laughs.
Едем, блядь. На вверху едет. Едем, пара висит.
Там вже хує.
It was good.
Там рикошетять десь.
Та вони піздують хує на куди.
Рикошетять відчули.
Да. Вони, може, пробивають.
А чого вони рикошетять тут тридцятка?
That is automatic.
Твою ж мать. О, ушло.
Туда.
That is automatic 30mm cannon working. It's not a machine gun, it's a cannon. You know, it was the moment when they were like harassing us, they were shooting us, they were using snipers, they were using dogs with lanterns attached to the dogs, so we would shoot at dogs, you know, and discover our position. Like, they were crazy. Oh, that is SPG, good explosion. So in the end, our commander decided, fuck that shit. And we were not allowed to work against them. We were not allowed to shoot at them because we had, like, you know, this ceasefire only for us, because the fuckers were shooting us all the time. And eventually we had 2 good guys wounded, really bad. And in the end, commander said, fuck that shit. So we removed the Russian position and several of the Russian snipers. It was good. It was a proper thing. Then my friend Stas got wounded. So, you probably remember our first video that you probably got acquainted with me, okay, when I'm addressing the Russian soldiers when they only invaded Ukraine. And the dude standing next to me, that is Stas, and he got wounded. And I remember this even today. I was at the base camp in the command center, and we received message that we have like 7 7 wounded guys at once, and we're like, what the fuck has happened? So Stas is his sergeant major, and there he was sergeant major, like I was press officer / dude with the rifle, and he was sergeant major / automatic grenade launcher operator. So they were switching the guys at the position, and the Fox, apparently they had a drone. The drone spotted them during this switch process, and they shot 2 full packs from automatic grenade launcher at the guys. So this grenade exploded under his feet, and he immediately had his both legs broken. He fell down bleeding, and he got evacuated, and then I saw him in the hospital, and his legs looked like, how to compare it? I have no freaking idea. So he lost a toe, and he went through like almost 2 years of rehabilitation, and he returned to the brigade and kept serving, and he still does. So he's extremely heroic. I remember I was at this command center. I was like, holy shit, who are the people? And then we started receiving messages, and they're like, Stas is wounded. I'm like, fuck, what's wrong with him? And somebody says, like, this rumor, rumors are always, somebody says he lost his balls. I'm like, oh fuck. Or balls and dick, I'm like, oh fuck. So I went to him. I saw him like after a while. Like he said, dude, fuck those idiots. I'm fine. Everything's good. And he went through this rehabilitation. He's doing well. He still serves. So those were my deployments, and this was 22nd of February 2022. We were sitting with my best friends, Miroslav Burtovi and Kolya. They're playing poker and doing some crazy stuff, eating shrimps and chilling 2 days before the full-scale Russian invasion. It was so fun. Yeah, those are the crazy wallpapers. That is my mom's apartment. So that's why I lived for a while. I didn't live with my parents. I only lived there because it was the only place I could go. And then we went to Hostomel. After 2 days, that was the first thing I saw when I arrived. That is a tiny crater from a Russian caliber cruise missile. You can see that there's a house behind it, and that was like a civilian dorm. It didn't belong to our brigade. It was on the territory of our brigade, but it belonged to civilians, basically. So the missile hit there into an orchard, and apparently they wanted to target our headquarters. I have no idea. That is literally morning of 24th of February 2022, the very first attack, minutes before the helicopters arrived. And that is hours after the battle. That is our guys. We're already chilling after the combat in a different unit. That's our flag. That's our combat flags. The guys are they're tankers. They're not infantry. But as I told you, when that battle took place in Hostomel, there were all kinds of not infantrymen. Okay, there were military firefighters, there were tankers, There were officers, staff officers, financial officers, military psychologists, accountants, press service, and it was a really interesting experience. And that's me with Stas. That's the same day. That is literally after the battle. We are resting. And the Stas is like, oh, fuck. And he's holding shaker because that's the only food that we had. We're sitting there and I'm like, bro, do you want to drink something? He's like, fuck yeah. I'm like, I just remembered that I have a protein shake in my backpack. And I took that protein shake and shared it with Stas. And that was the first and only drink or probably meal as well within 48 hours, because we didn't eat much for like 48 hours. That was the only thing that we ate, because we were monitoring all kinds of crazy news. We were monitoring recent updates. It was interesting. And then we made that famous video. Those are the guys holding the fence of our little fortress. Was kind of cool. We had so many fuck-ups. There were so many like friendly fire, including during the first days. Fortunately, not within my brigade, but among others. Because generally Russian PsyOps, they were effective, unfortunately. And also people were kind of very anxious, very nervous. We were preparing, Kyiv was besieged, we were preparing to fight inside of Kyiv, and everybody were just, you would expect Russian spies everywhere, which generally was the case. So, what else can I show you? My God. That is, you saw Mriya, you saw everything else in my previous reports. That is the most recent one in Chasiv Yar. I took this photo exactly 1 year ago during our deployment together with the Max. Chasiv Yar, Bakhmut direction, Spirna, that's where we were. That was where my final deployment took place. And my dear friends, on one hand, of course, I miss those times big time. On the other hand, I'm so glad that I can have a different family now. Army is your family. That's brotherhood, that's family, but it's family you don't generally miss, okay, unless they die, of course. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. 8 years of my life in the National Guard, 2016 to 2024. It was a good experience, a lot of things learned, a lot of friends acquired. Unfortunately, a lot of friends lost. A lot of happy times, a lot of sorrow, a lot of nerves. When my friend got wounded in the head, Vova Tovkis, he's one of Ukrainian champions of the Invictus Games. The dude I'm so much proud of. He is the one who overcame death, because the bullet went through his brain and stuck in the back of his head. And I see him in the hospital. The only thing he can do is clip his eyes, wink actually one eye. And I shit you not, 1.5 months after that, we return from a deployment, and I'm standing there at the parade ground, and I see a dude wearing a mask. And he comes up to me and he's like, "Motherfucker, you don't recognize me?" And he punches me. I'm like, "Vova?" He's like, "Yeah." he was paralyzed. Like the bullet went through the right part of his brain, and his left part of his body was paralyzed. And he was a fucking vegetable. I saw that with my own eyes. I'm like, fuck, you're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to fucking lay down in the bed. So it was good. I made a movie about that deployment. It's in Ukrainian. Maybe if somebody helped, because I tried. I'm just too freaking lazy to do that. If somebody helps me to translate it, that would be great. But generally 8 years, starting from a private, from a machine gunner, and then to a sergeant, and then an officer, and traveling to all kinds of places, beautiful places, scary places, freezing, acquiring all kinds of diseases connected to the service at the front line, breathing mold, eating shit, sometimes sushi, generally shit, drinking bad water. Water in Donbass is so bad. Losing teeth because of that shit. It was an extremely interesting experience. I have never worked anywhere as long as in this brigade. Like 8 years. That is insane. That is 1/4 of my life. That is crazy. Okay, I'm ready to check out some of the questions. And I ran out of coffee. When and how did you get into the press corps? So it was like that. My commander wanted to find a press officer. He checked out who has a proper background, and it turned out that I worked in communications since 2006 until 2013. And that's why they called me and they asked me whether I want to be a press officer. And I'm like, no. And they're like, we think you do want to work as a press officer. I'm like, yes, sir. It was fun. Generally, it was really cool. No food tonight. Let's talk about food. So, the food. I think I have this funny picture specifically for you. Yeah. So, this is how we toast hot dogs at Svetlodarka. We had hot dogs. We had a fire. And this is how we had fun, when we had nothing to do. It's like military barbecue, National Guard style. Water is extremely bad. I remember, where was it? The worst water was in Krasnohorivka. It tasted like borscht, but not in a good way, okay? It tasted like bad borscht, like the water itself, because there's a lot of different minerals and salts in the soil in Donbass, and water tastes, it has like saltish, sourish, bitter taste. It's so bad, and it's like oily, Oh my god, I have no idea how I survived, and even when you make tea with this water, it's still bitter and sour and salty, all at the same time. It's crazy. Kebabs, kinda hot dogs, barbecue, I would say. What did I eat today? Today I literally had noodles with that meat, with this one. Only not Ukrainian, but German. In Ukraine, we call it tushonka. It's a meat from a tin can. And it's so good. It's just fantastic. A strategic pear tree orchard. Apple tree, I think. Or pears. Don't know. Zaitsevo. Yeah, Zaitsevo. There was Zaitsevo, there was Travnever. It was in the area of the responsibility of my brigade. What's the best dessert in Ukraine? It's when you go to a village and you meet your grandma. And your grandma takes, you know, the conserved stuff that she conserved for you specifically, if you're a teenager, especially like 12, 14. She takes all kinds of yummy stuff because you're so thin. Even if you weigh like 200 kilos, for your grandma, you're always too thin. Like, look at those tiny chicks. Your grandma will take care of you. And she takes all kinds of jams. She takes like fresh cherries, and she makes all kinds of desserts with sour cream, and she stuffs you with all that stuff for like a month, okay? And after a month, you are popping. Your skin is rattling because it wants to pop, because you have like, your cheeks are this big, and your grandma is like, look at you, you're still thin, ay, you know? So Ukrainian babusia, and it's not babushka. Babushka is a fucking Russian babushka. In Ukraine, we have babusia, okay? So Ukrainian babusia, she knows shit. She knows how to make you look like a man. My brother knows that. How many cigarettes during the run? I saw guys who were smoking during like a 5-minute break, but generally it's like when you run 30 kilometers, it's like you run, you walk, you run, you walk, and then you also crawl, carry, and run, you know. Generally, you don't really want to smoke because you will die very, very soon. Like not directly die, but you know, you will fall out of the line. And so you would prefer to drink just a bit of water and run further. But I really saw guys who smoked at the break. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? It was crazy. How long does it take to run that 30 kilometers? Oh, guys, it takes quite a few hours. I would say 4 at least. 4 at least. Because again, it's not that you have to run it as fast as possible. You need to run it with your unit, with your battalion, for example, or your company. And you have to go through all the suffering together. Through like crawling and evacuating the wounded, etc., etc. And later we added even more stuff like smoke, like different fields with barbed wire and shit. But no less than 4 hours. So it's 4 hours minimum of extreme fun. Extreme fun. Is the cornet still on the microphone? Still here, my friend. Still here. Every single time I speak in this microphone, I want to cry from nostalgia. Yeah. Kulish, yes, that is my last name. Do you afraid of spiders? We talked about spiders yesterday. Nobody is afraid of spiders. I just don't like them. Do I understand it correctly? Now that you have this deal with UATV, there won't be any daily updates on your channel anymore. No, there will be. There will be updates. I didn't do updates for a week at least because I was sick, unfortunately. And I was literally fighting against sleepiness and dizziness and managing to do several interviews here and there. But generally, it's literally because I was sick. I will return to this stuff. Also, very soon we are launching our merch store with Miroslav Burtovy. I hope that he's here. Tom Lobos, what's the worst memory about Ukrainian vodka? I don't remember any good memory about Ukrainian vodka. However, there was a time when I literally decided that it's like the best solution, in my life. I would go to job, see Max, and I would have like a hangover. I would hug Max and say, dude, alcoholism is your answer to all the problems. I was just kidding because I'm not addicted, luckily. But generally, worst memories about vodka. I would go to a concert, get trashed, and go into a mosh pit and break my rib. Probably that one. It was really cool. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't fart, I couldn't do anything because this shit hurts like hell for a month or two. It was extremely cool. Did you train by other country after the war? We've been to this Rapid Trident military exercise several times with my brigade. Three or four times. And we were training together with our foreign partners. You have a grandma. I did, Cheryl. I had 2 grandmas, and they all liked to feed me with everything. Desserts, rabbits, meat, whatever. Spam. Yeah, that meat, I think, you guys on the West, me included, call it spam. I believe so. Did you never eat spam? We have extremely good spam in Ukraine. And back in the Soviet times, it was also good because that meat that you saw on the photos, it's fantastic. It's just so tasty, and it tastes so natural, and it has the concentrated taste of meat with this juice, Then there is bad spam. I remember until this day because I opened the can and I saw that lonely nipple staring at me from the tin can, and I looked at it and it looked at me, and I realized that probably even dogs won't eat that. But generally we have some really, really good meat in our ration. What do you want to be when you grow up? I think I want to be a doctor or a pilot or an astronaut when I grow up. But there's way to go. Maybe I will change my mind still. How do you stay so positive and determined? I have a family, and my family motivates me every single day. Currently, there's 423 family members watching this video. Is Putin sober? I think it doesn't matter. He's insane. He's nuts. That's why it doesn't matter if he's sober or not. Do you have a favorite American Western rock band? Oh, so if we're speaking about like metal bands, it's like Rammstein, of course. Like Rammstein, come on. My Persian lady likes Rammstein. Generally, like in terms of music, we are like completely different people, okay? Because she comes from a different environment. And I taught her how to like Rammstein and On a Dish and things like, what else? Die Sonne. She loves it. And then I made her love the Nightwish. Literally because you cannot hate Nightwish. Tyra has extremely beautiful voice and powerful vocals, and she's one of the best, I think, both in opera and at the rock stage. So those two are something. Oomph also, very nice. That is something that we listen in the car. There's so many of them. Oh my god, Il Nino, Latin metal. It's so cool. It's so much cooler than anything else because Latin music has this passion. It has this, emotion. And sometimes they are overly emotional, but when you combine emotional and passionate Latin music with metal, that is something insane. Five Finger Death Punch, Drowning Pool, like early Drowning Pool, and a lot of more mainstream things. Linkin Park, Chester Bennington. I cry every single time when I drive my car and I hear his things. I cry. Ukrainian bands, one of them will be in Germany playing, I think in November, is Space of Variations. You gotta check them out. Tibet, so good. The song Where Are You Tonight, so good. That is my style, like metalcore-ish, razor blades. Check out Space of Variations, Razor Blades. That is... You're gonna love it. And I also like whatever brings me good mood, punk music, because it's silly, it's funny. I play it every single time on my streams. You got broken ribs. That is not to me. Were you sick because of Oktoberfest? Is it October? Oh shit! Did I miss it? Oh my god, I gotta check it out. Speed, Death, Doom, Glam, Trash. Also Deathcore. Also Bring Me the Horizon. Even though it's like emo shit, like I cannot say that it's like very much emo shit. But at the same time, Bring Me the Horizon, Oliver Sykes is one of the biggest supporters of Ukraine, and he has my eternal respect. All of their songs, all of their shit is just so good. Imagine Dragons, I love them, but not really my type of music. Even though I respect them so much, there's a lot of musicians that make extremely good music, just something not mine, right? What do you like to drink? Literally coffee with milk every single day. It's even I think you can even consider it like milk with coffee, not vice versa. Is Schlager affecting you already? And are you new or old school Schlager when you do Schlager? I think I'm like old school Schlager a bit. I still listen to like new metal bands, even though new metal sucks. What's a social bubble? It's very easy to explain. When you find a Ukrainian journalist, like on the mainstream Ukrainian channel, and when you ask this journalist, who is Operator Starsky, I give you 99% that they will say, like, I have no idea. Because that is one social bubble. Our social bubble is a different social bubble, and those social bubbles don't intersect. Ukrainian-speaking internet usually doesn't intersect with English-speaking internet. That is why in Ukraine, people mostly have never heard about me. Like, seriously. They heard about me as Andrei Kulish or Haritin Starsky back in the days when I was a press officer. But Operator Starsky, English-speaking dude on YouTube, in most cases, they will never recognize me. They will be like, "Oh, dude, I know you." You know, that is the difference between social bubbles. Explained under 1 minute. Was there a test drop with strumming cans against orc? Yeah, it was confirmed several times. And Brandon Mitchell, by the way, also confirmed that it happened for real. Anyone happy in 2024? Yes, but 2024 will end like in less than 1.5 months, so in less than 3 months. So we will see. There's still a chance for all of us. Modern talking. Oh my god. Weird thing. When I was a kid, you know, there's always this point when you think, like, dude, you need to choose your preferable style of music, you know, whatever you will like. Somebody chooses like hip hop, others choose like pop music, others choose rave, you know. First thing I chose for myself when I became a teenager is I bought a tape of Nirvana, the best songs, not even an album, literally like a compilation of stuff. And I fell in love with it. I was just so impressed that the music can be so powerful. Then I discovered like harder styles. There was Scorpions, Iron Maiden, Queen that followed all this. But there were also like Manowar. There was Iron Maiden. There was, my God, like all the way down to Cannibal Corpse. And at the same time, my father would often listen like Modern Talking at the kitchen. And my ears would explode every single time when I was there. But the older I become, the more tolerant I become to such music. Like, sometimes I even like find it funny, like, you know. Sometimes you listen to music not because you want to have this emotional vent, because generally what makes metal music, and especially if it carries, you know, so much emotional charge, what makes it so great? It's because you can scream along. It's because you can vent everything that you have inside, you know. Because generally, you know, when your soul is overfilled and everything is overfilled with can be used as weapon, sometimes you need a proper music to vent all that. And not only that, but also charged with new emotions, with new power. Then there is modern talking that you can listen for fun. That's it. Or like, aha, take on me. You know, that is why I can't see anything wrong with listening to that stuff. Do you like the Mongolian metal band name too? No, I've never heard about them, but I'm gonna check it out. Do you know what depression is? Orc playing West Simulator 2024. Ooh. Oh my god. West Simulator. This is something we all need. Code Coder, my dear friend, you are genius. And I'm not joking right now. This is something we all need. West Simulator. I have an insight right now. I feel enlightened. Like seriously. Because currently, you know, unfortunately, a lot of people on the West are playing like conspiracist simulator, which sucks, which is very, very dangerous for their mental health. Hello from North Wales. Hello, my dear friend. Where is Yemelian from school these days, and does he have fleas? He's guarding my garage. I stuck him like on the wall. He's hanging there on the wall, and he's guarding my garage. He's guarding my stuff. He's guarding like a bunch of tires back in Kiev. Actually, I made a mistake not taking him here, but on the other hand, I think, you know, Polish border guards would not let me in on the border with Yemelian in the car. He looks like shit. He looks very bad, especially after I found him. Favorite classical singer? What do we consider as classic? To me, classical music is Chopin. I like Chopin. There were times when I would just cycle around my city block in the night listening to Chopin. It was extremely fun. Singer? I don't know. Trio Mandolini, I think. It's a Georgian band. There are 3 girls. They sing amazing things. They sing Georgian songs. You gotta check it. Trio Mandili. Yeah, it's Trio Mandili Apareka. You gotta find it. It's in Georgian. It's fantastic. And they have rock cover for this song. Guys, you like, if you want to discover something, you check this one out. Die Antwoord. I think so. But I didn't become their fan. Pavarotti, of course. Pavarotti is so good. Montserrat Caballé, yeah. But guys, not like I'm listening to them every single day. Like once a year, just to impress myself. Again, Taria, sorry. They're good, but I'm into different music. We have a band called Boombox, and it's when I learned that my friend died 2 days ago. I'm listening to the song Naodinsi. Let me find it for you real quick. Okay, boombox. No, didn't see. And here it is in the chat. So I was listening to this song. It's about a dude feeling alone, and his phone doesn't ring, and he wants his phone to ring because he feels alone and his friends don't call him, you know. And I'm standing there on the kitchen drinking coffee, and my girl says, like, it's so interesting, I cannot understand Ukrainian language, and I cannot understand this song. Like, to me, it doesn't mean anything, while to you, it means a lot right now. And I instantly tried to tell her about the lyrics, and then I realized that a lot of my contacts will not call me either, because they're dead. And I just couldn't talk for a while. What places would you like to travel to? There's so many of them. Japan. Bali. Bali Island. So, I'm not sure if you know it, but there is this curse of Bali. One lady told me about it. So, the curse of Bali. When a couple goes to Bali, there's a high chance that they will split. But if you're going there alone, there's a big chance that you will find a couple. And logically, this is how it works, because when they split, they become alone. So I deciphered the curse of Bali. At least I know how it works. Hairy nipples? Hairy nipples? Well, I would not call them hairy. No. Could you please make sure that all of your visual documents are available to historians? Oh my god, you know, after I die, I think that, like, all my life will be there, will be available for everybody on YouTube. Generally, it's so interesting. There's so many YouTubers right now, and they literally die every single year. How many of accounts are there that will never be updated anymore? It's crazy. What's your favorite funk? Funk? Okay, my friend, you need to explain what funk is, because I'm not acquainted with the slang. I fell in love with the song Desert Rolls by Pro Bass. I didn't hear it. I gotta check it out. Camo, my dream is to visit Bikini Atoll. Oh. Ukraine had a Black Sea surf club before the war. They left the surf camps on. Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know we had surf club. Because generally waves in the Black Sea, I think we only have waves like in storm. like proper waves. Maybe I don't know. Surfing is something I was never acquainted with. Also, I know that, for example, there's like a lot of popular places for surfing in both Americas, Hawaii, of course, etc. But there's one problem: fucking sharks. So, unfortunately, I don't have the supernatural ability of deterring sharks, and I don't want to become a reason some Russian fuck will make a tattoo of a shark on his shoulder. $69, fuck it. I go dream soon. No vodka left. My condolences. It's bad. Rik said 90 Ukrainian prisoners just freed, including Azov. Oh, that is so good. I also heard that Russians exchanged something like 501 bodies. That is also very good because, again, Seryoga Kishkin, for example, my friend, he was not returned to his mother, and she was crying because of that. Like, it's hard because this is the law. Even if like 10 of your friends confirm that you died, but there's no body, you will be considered missing in action for, I think, 2 years or something like that. It's crazy, it's stupid, but at the same time, it's law. Tobacco or cannabis? Neither one. I prefer something that, like, I don't smoke this because it's good. I smoke it only because it contains nicotine, that's all. Because I'm a freaking addict. I admit it. Do you think is another own goal Russia bans Discord, YouTube restricts Telegram? How do Russian commanders now issue their order? Topic? Field wired phone. This is how they did it in 1941. They also restrict things like Steam. So because Steam doesn't comply with the requirements of Roskomnadzor, they already received a warning, and apparently Steam will be closed very soon in Russia as well. Thoughts on Ukrainian nukes? We don't have them. That's the thing. Can Ukraine have nukes? I don't think it's necessary. We can produce them easily. But at the same time, we won't do that. I'm glad that our government doesn't believe in nuclear weapons, and me neither, but at the same time, they believe in things like collective security, which is a proper thing. Collective security is an answer to everything. This is something that we should preserve. Can I buy a sweatshirt like yours? Yes, you can. You gotta talk to Miroslav Burtovy. I hope that he's in the chat somewhere, and he will help you acquire it. No Steam, how can they live without Goat Simulator? It's very easy, my friend. They can always download it from Root Tracker. Root Tracker is the biggest torrent tracker in Russia you can find. When the Russian invasion happened, as far as I remember, there was a bunch of Ukrainian admins who restricted partially access to the tracker, but generally speaking, Russia is known for being probably the biggest pirate country in the world, and they steal all kinds of stuff, so I think they won't be mad, or they won't cry much about it. There was a time when we also used to download stolen stuff, of course, because we lived in a poor country, and we didn't even have things like Steam. So we would either go to an offline store and buy stuff. And I remember first thing I bought that required Steam, I literally bought a DVD with Empire Total War, one of my favorite games ever. And it required Steam and internet connection. And I was like, what the hell is this? What kind of game requires an internet connection? What if I don't have internet connection all of a sudden? Which now is not the case at all. For example, if you want to fly Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 or 2024, that will be released this year, that I'm expecting so much. But generally, we used to do that as well. Then we discovered Steam, and I became a grown-up. I started earning money, and I think there's nothing better than paying for software. I seriously think that. Also, I was, I believe, one of the first Ukrainians who actually held licensed Microsoft Windows in my hands, like in package. It was something unheard of. 2008, I went to the United States and I brought my laptop, and I worked with the World Bank. And in the office, I was required to use intranet and the VPN. And in order to access it, I had to install some specific software, which I couldn't install on my laptop because my laptop had a snatched Windows in Russian language. This is how I bought it in the store, And so I went to a legit offline IT store and I bought a DVD with Windows Vista and Microsoft Office. And I went out of the store holding them in my hands. I don't know what to compare this to. It's like I had the eyes of a Ukrainian soldier sitting inside of HIMARS for the first time, probably. I was like, look at this shit. 2 years later, I went out to my balcony. I took the DVD with this fucking shit and I threw it away. Because Windows Vista sucks. I had to reinstall it like gazillion times. What about the Gigolo calendar? We are trying to recruit Lindy Page. Without Lindy Page, the Gigolo calendar will not be complete. Artur Rehi, I will pay a bribe, but Lindy Page, we need to find a way to convince him. Isn't it difficult to pirate multiplayer games these days? Multiplayer games? I don't think so. I believe that you can download things like Phasmophobia, for example, easily on a torrent. But on the other hand, you need to keep your game updated. That's the thing. That is why I like and respect Steam so much. Those were the days, Jenny. That's right. Literally, I would call my friends and show them those DVDs. They were like, wow, this is how they look like in real life. Because generally it's like, you download stuff, you install Windows on your computer, you crack it, and boom. Yeah, I'm so glad that we evolved. Are you feeling retrospective today? I don't feel particularly retrospective today, but I was sharing my experience of my past 8 years in the National Guard. That's why I feel a bit nostalgic. Have you, Butusov's interview with Ryan O'Leary? Ryan O'Leary. Where did I hear this name? I don't know. I don't remember. What if gamers start getting AI helpers? That will be so cool. First of all, I expect that AI will help bring old games back to life. I'm talking about the graphics. So instead of like patching the game and modding the game, you would just use an AI layer that would transform horrible low-res graphics into like something photorealistic in real time. I think it will happen in the future. And also, I expect AI to be used to control NPCs in the games. That would kick ass, and it's already happening, by the way, in different games. Anna from Ukraine? Where's Anna from Ukraine? Is she here? Anna? No, she's not. It's a false alarm. How long did you stay in America? Couple of months? Couple of weeks? Couple of months? It was literally back in 2008. It was long time ago. I think it was longer than couple of weeks, but less than couple of months. But it was interesting. I went to Smithsonian Air and Space Museum in the Washington, D.C. That is the place to go. And that is the place where you can spend like 2 days of your time just roaming around, looking at the airplanes and the Wright's flyer, the very first airplane. That's just so cool. Okay, guys, we are approaching. Oh, actually, we're almost at 2 hours and 30-minute mark. How many games you have in your Steam account? Like, it's a good question. If we're talking about installed games, not much. I have like, recently I have even uninstalled Microsoft Flight Simulator because I'm expecting 2024 one. But where the hell is my library? Oh, I have 6, 9, 12 seams. Anyways, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 33. Whoa. Approximately 40 games. Some of them are extremely stupid, like the Granny Simulator, where you have to murder your grandkid or vice versa. But I have something that I will never play anymore, like Explain 11. Like, who needs Explain 11? But there's extremely cool things, like Friday the 13th, the game. It's extremely cool. Sea of Thieves, I never played it. Riot, You Gotta, Crusader Kings. One time, we installed this game with Max on our computers in the brigade, and we played like 2 weeks straight. Because when you play with somebody, it's so cool when you literally share your all technologies for free, and then you can advance twice faster as other NPCs. That is so cool. Euro Truck Simulator. Something I played back in the days before I started driving an actual car. Not interesting anymore. So, Drunk Bar Fight, that's a VR shit. Very cool. Red Dead Redemption 2. And, of course, Hobo Tough Life, the simulator of a homeless person. This one is my favorite because basically this is a simulator of a soldier. No money, no life. No money, no home. And police simulator. Sometimes when I feel, this nostalgia about, harassing pedestrians and doing crazy shit, I play that one. Guys, you are game maniac. I have 27 PC games in my computer. Arma 4. Is Arma 4 out? I'm not sure. But generally, Arma is the best infantry simulator, I would say. Because I compared my experience to all kinds of games. And generally, games are very, very easy because you can run indefinitely, you can shoot while running. First time I installed Operation Flashpoint back in those days. What I see is that I'm running out of breath. When I lie down, I cannot see shit. Somebody kills me, I cannot see where he was. And then I went to the army, and I realized, shit, this is how it works in the real life. This is exactly how it works. So if you wanna get more acquainted with how the infantry life looks like, how it feels like, that's the game for you. I'm not sure about Arma 3 though. It's more... I don't know. I prefer Arma 1 and 2 literally because they're so not advanced, so straightforward. One shot, you're dead, you don't see shit, you take cover, you still get killed, and generally you don't see shit. That's the thing. And you don't jump wearing armor. That's another thing. Did the museum also have space vehicles like Apollo? Yes. The Smithsonian Museum had, they even had space lab, so you could walk inside and see how it looked on the inside. It was extremely cool. Okay, my dear friends, let's call it a day and let's say goodnight. 1 a.m. Oh my god, it's 1 a.m. We were talking for 2.5 hours straight. Friends, thank you so much for watching this stream. I had fun. It was extremely cool. And a lot of memories. Good memories, sad memories. But in the end, everything will be fine. Or not. We will see. Thank you so much for supporting Ukraine. Thank you so much for being decent and awesome. Thank you so much for being my friends and people I consider family. Please stay tuned for the updates on my merch store, because you guys asked me for merch for quite a while. There were 2 stores that I was never, like connected with, because all the money went straight to the different foundations, charities, and I didn't even manage those merch stores. But now we open one with Miroslav Burtovi, and I think you gonna like it. Okay, we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks again, and be safe. Goodbye.